Hey, it is Mike Matthews, the host of the longest-running self-produced daily podcast by a guy named Mike on planet Earth. It is called Mike's Daily Podcast. Today it is episode 3006. And did you know that, well, since it's February, it is no longer Dry January. This year, millions of Americans participated in Dry January. The alcohol industry is waking up with a nasty hangover. Year over year, alcohol volumes have fallen by a little over 2%. And for the first 7 months of 2024, it was 2.8%. Craft beer continues a slide that began in the late O's. And that's weird because it was in the 10s that we started seeing a lot of craft beer places opening up all over California, particularly in the Bay Area. But mainstream beer faded before that, and wine has been plateauing since around 2018, just before COVID. For middle-aged and older Americans, alcohol consumption hasn't declined much. 18 to 34-year-olds now aren't drinking as much as those 18 to 34-year-olds back in the O's. In fact, it was 72% of that demographic were drinking in the early 2000s, but now that has gone from 72 down to 59%. This decline has coincided with the doubling of the share of Americans who smoke marijuana, with young people being the most likely to toke up. And if you ever are on the Bay Area rapid transit system in the Bay Area, chances are whatever car you get into is going to smell of a hint of the weed. Instead of it being BART, it should be WART for weed area rapid transit. It is all over. Maybe the livers are being spared a little bit. Your liver is always being spared here at Café Anyway. Our hardest drink is root beer. Not sure what the Brewmaster puts in it. We'll have to ask him later on as we go into Café Anyway after you. Café Anyway. Welcome to Café Anyway.
Mike's Daily Podcast.
Episode 3006. It is Mike Matthews here at Café Anyway, somewhere in podCastro Valley, the last place on earth.
Mike's Daily Podcast.
In the land of Ameritopica, and it's been raining a bit, and maybe you like to go into a theater and sit when it's raining and watching a movie. That's not me. I ended that relationship with movies a while back. Don't go and see them anymore. Maybe
Mike's Daily Podcast.
Maybe catch them on a streaming service. But that hasn't bugged Disney at all, because they had a really good year last year.
Mike's
It was
Daily
foul-mouthed
Podcast.
superheroes and family-friendly fare. And it propped up the domestic box office during the final months of last year. The full ticket sales were down from 2023, interestingly enough. They were down, however, just 3.4%, so not much. And altogether, movies raked in $8.74 billion. Not bad, as production was disrupted by dual Hollywood strikes. This was in 2024. Disney and Marvel's Deadpool and Wolverine topped $1 billion at the global box office. And then Pixar's Inside Out 2, that came in at $650 million here in the US, and then $1 billion internationally. And then they also had Moana 2. And meanwhile, Universal had their movie Wicked. It was the third highest grossing film of 2024. 2025 has the potential to break the 10 million. I can't even say it. It's such a huge number. $10 billion mark is what I wanted to say. $10 billion mark in 2026. It may have the potential to break in 2026. Marvel has three major superhero
Here's today's podcast picture.
releases in 2025, And the podcast picture is not any of those. It's a beautiful area in Podcastro Valley called Five Canyons. Looking out over, if you're in the Bay Area, it looks out over the bay. And this was taken towards the end of last year. And there are cows involved. Lots of cows on the hillsides of Podcastro Valley and the Bay Area. It may help with keeping the fire danger low. That and the fact we get rain. We're getting more rain this week. The late great Basil the Boxer and I used to go to this particular spot all the time. I'd let him go run. One time he was running around and he came back because dogs can be off leash there. He was running around and he came back to me and I thought he had a stick in his mouth. And no, it wasn't a stick. I wish it was a stick. But it was actually a leg of a deer. He hadn't killed the deer, but something had and left it, laying around. That was not good. Poor deer. Oh, there's lots of deer on the hillsides of the Bay Area, if you didn't know. Yeah, that SAG-AFTRA video game strike was back in July of 2024. It seems like it was longer ago, but I guess I'm not in the movie industry, so I wouldn't know.
Life grand.
Yes. Well, oh wow, and it actually started. This wasn't grand. It started back in September of 2023. You may have forgotten. And that was over the other big hullabaloo that caused the stock market to go crazy last week, the AI race and the race for, does China have a better AI system than America does, than Silicon Valley does, and back and forth. But this was AI with the use of that in making movie scripts, which that Disney movie I was thinking of that everybody jokes might have been written by AI, Wish was the name of that one. So, and video game performers, which that sounds like fun. I'm going to be a voice immortalized in a video game and people can manipulate me. It's like the greatest thing ever. Yeah, Wish came out in 2023. So let's see. There are big superhero movies, and I guess that would be the cliche of the week. Superhero movies. They've been cliches for a while. We've had entirely too many of them over our lifespans within the past couple of decades. But they are going to release this year Captain America Brave New World, Thunderbolts, and the Fantastic Four First Steps. That's right. And Warner Brothers is going to have their own big movie this year with the guy who did the Guardians of the Galaxy movies, and it's Supreme Legacy. Superman Legacy. What's Supreme Legacy? Am I thinking of Burrito Supremes? Whatever. Anyway, I guess those are cliches too. Burrito Supremes. Contribute your cliche of the week to my phone number, which is 510-228-4640. I know it's a 51. Yes, a 510 Bay Area code, 228-4640. Thereabouts where Podcastro Valley is. So that's what we have to look forward to with movies. And I have not been watching any movies lately. I think I'm watching. Do you remember that show Eureka? That was on, I think it was on the Sci-Fi Channel. It was on eons ago. Yeah, I guess in the early O's or mid-O's.
Random.
That's my news random for you. I've been watching that lately. And I guess it's because I never watched it when it first came out. And I heard things here and there. And, it's a town where things go crazy. And actually, that happened recently in the Bay Area. The town of Martinez, they have a refinery there. And a lot of people there have worked in the refinery industry. And it's a beautiful town. It's right by the water. I was talking about it last podcast. And suddenly there was this big fire there on Saturday, and people had to shelter in place. And one of the people, as we go outside a Café Anyway, where we bring in Mike's Daily Podcast somewhere in Podcastro Valley, the last place on earth in the land of Ameritopica, Some of the people there were, we live with that refinery over there, and all kinds of weird stuff happens, not just this recent fire, but recently there were like green flames flying across the sky and landing on top of the houses nearby. What? That sounds like what happened.
Like scavenger hunt.
As I'm searching around for interesting correlations here. As you know, some of the flames that were picked up by the crazy winds in Southern California caused so many other fires to spark. And there was a GoFundMe and donations to LA fire victims. It surpassed the $65 million raised for the 2023 fires on the Hawaiian island of Maui. They raised $65 million. The recent GoFundMe for LA victims went over $200 million. And then they had that recent concert to raise money as well. The FDA approved the use of a Johnson & Johnson nasal spray.
For your entertainment.
Spravato.
The one.
And it's supposed to be
Mike Matthews.
the one and only Mike Matthews. Hello. I guess that's me. But I guess it is a standalone treatment for depression, this nasal spray, the first of its kind. And Instagram creators on Instagram. I'm on Instagram there at Mike's Daily Podcast. It's offering them cash bonuses of up to $50,000 a month. $50,000 if they post exclusively to Reels. Yes, Reels. That's their little thing that's trying to be like TikTok. And what's a YouTube have? So Instagram's owned by Meta and Mark Zuckerberg and Facebook. YouTube, of course, is Google and Alphabet. So they compete. But they want people to do the Reels, the videos. It's an apparent effort to capitalize on TikTok's uncertain status in the U.S.
The Mike tip.
That's my tip. I also heard, because I subscribe to the David Letterman YouTube feed, he had said that he was going to buy TikTok. So I don't know. And then there's the Elon Musk maybe buying it. By the time you hear this, maybe he has or had or is going to. Who knows? But YouTube and TikTok star Mr. Beast, which I don't understand why that guy is so popular. Is it his facial hair? Is it the way his jaw moves so interestingly? It's an interesting jaw he has. I don't know what it... have you noticed it, or is it just me? I'm fascinated by the behavior of one's jaw. But it's officially bidding for TikTok. Oh, well, here we go. YouTube and TikTok star Mr. Beast officially bidding for TikTok as part of a group of investors. As the 75-day time limit, as you know, it got an extension thanks to Trump. As that time limit ticks down.
Wow, Shuts, wow.
Yes, only a few, less than 75 days left from the time you hear this. Wow, Shuts, wow. My mom used to call me Shuts. And she'd go, wow, Shuts, wow, when I tell her something weird and odd that surprised her. But a 75-day time period ticks down for the social media company to find a non-Chinese owner or risk permanently being banned. Mr. Beast, who's got that new series, the Beast Games, going on Amazon. That's right, Amazon Prime's channel. And doing weird games. It's bizarre because isn't that what Joe Rogan did? And Joe Rogan's the other big social media star, only in the podcast world. But you got Mr. Beast now doing, I'll give you $5 million. $5 million. He coughs and $5 million is airborne. He's got so much money. Just $5 million? Mr. Beast, that's it? That's all you have with all the endorsements you have? You can't offer more? And the commercial that I see.
Newsbleed section.
In the Newsbleed section, the commercial for that Mr. Beast Games thing is pretty annoying because it's always those tag things. This is the biggest amount of money I've ever given. Wow, this is amazing. There's only one person who's going to win. And, the big and the and the and all those sound effects. Oh, Mike and your dang sound effects. All right. We're outside a cafe anyway, somewhere in Podcaster Valley. Look who's here. Hi, Mike. It's Benita the Rodeo Queen. How y'all doing? I brought my horse Billy. And it's a disgruntled fiddle player, tell you what. What?
I don't know who Mr. Beast is, or Mr. Rogan, or Mr. T is. Well, I know Mr. T. He was cool. Tell you what.
What?
18.
Hannibal. The guy, George Papard, people forget, was also Banachek and also in the movie Breakfast at Tiffany's. That blows my mind. That guy got a lot of parts. He's no longer with us. Oh, and Damnation Alley, don't forget that. That guy got some interesting roles. Huh. Look who else is here.
Hello, Mike. I make delicious root beer. Have some out now. Oh, boy.
Thank you. Oh, I could use some. It's a little parched. Oh, what's in that?
I put wonderful rainwater that has been raining in California lately. Oh, boy.
Yes, rainwater. So wonderful. We have it. We're going to get a lot of it in the Bay Area for like one day. And that's that. Oh, no, then there'll be another one. But it's that time of year, and they call it the Pineapple Express because if you look at it on a global map, the wind, all that water and moisture is coming from the Hawaiian Islands, and there are pineapples there. And the British can't stand pineapples on their pizzas, and there's some kind of story there about some guy saying that, or there's some law being passed where they can't put pineapple on pizza, something bizarre like that. But hey, if you're in college and it's 1988, perhaps you are putting pineapple on your pizza along with Canadian bacon, which is neither Canadian nor bacon. But that's neither here nor there, nor film noir, or anything else. If you would like to call in with your contribution, why, here's the phone number.
Call Mike at the Café Anyway hotline. Area code 510-228-4640. Will you shut ups? Liberty Nation Freedom Phone for All.
This is Will You Shut Up, and call in with your quote for my brand new apparel. How much are you going to buy for my apparel that I make? Because I'm Will You Shut Up. Will You Shut Up apparel? Interesting. That might catch on. That guy's controversial, that Will You Shut Up. Okay, one last weird sound effect thing.
I just want to thank everyone for joining us here on this show. This was great.
Oh, that was nice. Okay, that's a good way to end the show. And with all things having to do with Mike's Daily Podcast, we go to the mainframe and hear from A-Frame. Thank you so much for listening. I better go seek some help now.
This nightmare of a show.
Mike's Daily Podcast is written and produced and performed by Mike Matthews. His podcast is super easy to find. Download or listen to his show and read his blog at mikesdailypodcast.com.
Email Mike now at mikesdailypodcast@gmail.com.
See you tomorrow. Bye.